Here's some food for thought. Which one is stronger, DNA or energy? This was the conversation this morning with someone talking about DNA versus energy and which one is stronger. So this is just food for thought. I was like, listen, let's talk about something important and let's talk about it honestly, right? Is DNA stronger or is energy stronger? And the truth is that question only becomes confusing when we try to make them enemies, right? Enemies. And what I mean by that, like DNA versus energy. Why it gotta be versus? But they're not enemies, they're layers. DNA is your biological blueprint. Energy is the field in which that blueprint operates. DNA gives instruction. Energy influences how those instructions are expressed. That's not spiritual opinion, that's biology. Modern science already shows us this through epigenetics. Genes can turn on or off depending on environment, stress, safety, nourishment, and emotional state. So DNA is not destiny, it's potential plus probability. DNA is not destiny, it's potential plus probability. Ha. Now let's talk about energy because this is where people either get empowered or misled. Energy is not magic thinking. I say again, energy is not magic thinking. Energy is your nervous system state, your stress level, your emotional regulation, your beliefs, your meaning making, your daily rhythms. When you live in chronic stress, your body responds differently. When you feel safe, your body repairs differently too. When you carry unresolved trauma, somebody say unresolved trauma, your psychology adapts around survival. That's energy influencing expression. Energy influencing expression. So which one is stronger? If you're asking what determines the raw code, it's DNA. If you're asking what determines how that code shows up in your life, now that's energy. Think of it like this. DNA is the script and energy is the director. Come on, somebody. A script alone doesn't create a story. It has to be interpreted. And here's where I want us to be careful because there are two traps. One trap says, it's in my DNA, so I can't change anything. That leads to stagnation, resignation, and that's it. You ain't no movement forward. The other trap says, energy overrides biology completely. That leads to guilt and magical thinking, amongst other things. The truth is integration. Integration. You may have inherited tendencies. You may have inherited sensitivities. You may have inherited predispositions. But awareness, somebody say awareness. Awareness, regulation, and choice influences how those tendencies are expressed. You don't change the instrument that you were given, but you absolutely can change the music. So this right here is not about denying biology, and it's not about blaming yourself for everything. It's about reclaiming agency. Yes, reclaiming agency without rejecting reality. And this right here reminds us that you're not here to fight your DNA. I'm going to say this again. You ain't here to fight your DNA. You're here to work with it consciously. That's not rebellion. That's maturity. That's healing. So I want you to ask yourself one question. Where can I bring more regulation instead of self-judgment? Where can I bring more regulation instead of self-judgment? Let's close out with this. I honor my biology without surrendering my power. I honor my biology without surrendering my power. I respect my DNA and I regulate my energy. I am not rewriting my code. I am choosing how it is expressed.